Grace, mercy, and especially God's peace to you from God our Father and from our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen. Dear friends in Christ, the basis for our gospel, our text, the basis for our sermon today is the gospel text. There we go. I'm not going to read it all for your hearing again, but I would ask you to recall it. It's the story of the man who was born blind and who receives his sight. And there are some interesting points in it and interesting parts. And I want to unpack that for us a little bit. But I want to start with the first verse of it where it says, as Jesus passed by, he saw a man blind from birth. And his disciples asked him, Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? Jesus answered, it was not that this man sinned or his parents, but that the works of God might be displayed in him. Here ends but a portion of the text. Don't have my clicker.
Was it on the breaker?
Nope, that's okay.
Oh.
There we go. As we think about this text, we come upon something that's fairly common. When we run into trouble, or when we see, well, usually it's when we run into trouble, we go, God, what did I do? Why are you doing this to me? God, I don't understand. I go to church, I'm a good person. What is going on? Why do I have this trouble in my life? And I have no doubt that at some point this young man asked himself, and we don't know what age he is, but we know that he's of age, so he's over 13 at this time, is what that meant in biblical culture. But I'm sure as he was growing up, he said, God, why me? Why was I born blind? And it may be you've asked yourself certain questions like that, like when we face trials or tribulations, God, why do I have to go through this? It may be that you have a physical ailment that you wonder, boy, wouldn't it be nice to have perfect eyesight? Wouldn't it be nice to have hair? I'm told that God only made so many perfect heads and the others he covered with hair. I'm just saying it works for me. But we've all faced those issues. God, I work hard, why don't I get ahead? God, we've striven and we've struggled and we've done everything we can. God, what is going on? And the disciples come upon this blind man, the apostles, and they go, Lord, who sinned? The first thing they think of is, he must have done something wrong. When we see things happen to other people, we begin to wonder, Lord, what did they do wrong? You know, what did they do to deserve such a terrible hand dealt by God? And they ask, was it him? Or was it his parents? Now he'd been born blind. What could he have been done at that point that would have caused him to be blind? But Jesus gives him an answer that is unexpected. And he goes, you know what, the problem he has was not because he was born blind, not because he did something wrong, not because his parents did something wrong, but to show the power and miracle of God. He was born blind just so at this point he could be healed and give glory to God. However long he had been alive, that had been his purpose in God's kingdom. God didn't tell him. God didn't give him any indication. He just said, guess what? For as long, I've got a plan for you. God has a plan for each one of us. We may have already seen the fulfillment of that plan. We may still be waiting for it. And he's got more than one plan for us. I've had many discussions with people as they age and they're sick or infirm, and they go, why hasn't God taken me home yet? And the answer to that question is always because God has something left for you to do. It may be that you're going to be an example to your family, to a loved one. When you go to the hospital, when you go to the doctor, when you see the nurse, when you meet the receptionist, you may be a Christian that comes into contact with that person, and you get to show them how a Christian deals with adversity. You might be a light shining in their darkness. You may never know why. And when you get to heaven, you can ask God and say, God, I don't understand. Could you show me? And then everything that has happened in your life will make sense. So the apostles viewed the blind man as judgmentally. Their first thought is, he's a sinner. There's something wrong with him, that he would be born blind. Jesus saw something entirely different, as we talked about. He saw God's plan. You see, he saw that God had a plan, and he knew what it was. And he just said, let me show you something. What's interesting is, Jesus is the Son of God. He's God himself. He's part of the Trinity. He could have said, just be healed. He did it on numerous other times. But this time he does something special. He spits on the ground, and he makes some mud out of the spit, and he puts it on the man's eyes. As I look at this, I try to think of, okay, God, why? One interpretation, this is the Smith heresy. I always like to say, if I'm doing it, it's the Smith heresy. Do you think he was restoring creation? He took the dust of the earth, the water that we're reminded of our baptism, and he restored the man's sight. He made whole again that which had been unfulfilled, unfinished. It's one thought. In the midst of this miracle, in the midst of this healing, others see different things. And that's why I want to talk about a viewpoint of how we view things. You see, when we look at the same evidence, people come up with different interpretations of it. The evidence in this case was simply that the man could now see. And so the first thing is the Pharisees look at this and they say, we've got a problem. We've got an opportunity to charge Jesus because the man may have been born blind, but Jesus healed him on the Sabbath. He broke the law. They didn't come to think that the prophet of God could heal on the Sabbath. Each of them did certain things on the Sabbath. They had established a list of what was permissible and what was not permissible to do as considered as work on the Sabbath day. Even today on your refrigerator, not on your refrigerator, but on your stove, if you go through the manual, and I know why would you read the manual, but if you read the manual, you'll probably find that there's a Sabbath setting on your stove. If it's a more modern stove, read through it and you'll find out that there's a Sabbath setting. And that's for when they sell that to Orthodox Jews, because they can't turn on their oven on the Sabbath because that would be considered a work. And they can't work on the Sabbath. So they just set their oven and it turns on automatically for them. They didn't do the work. There's a whole lot of mental gymnastics going on there that I don't get, but I'm just telling you it's true. But so the Pharisees said, aha, he has violated our laws. We speak for God, so he must be wrong. He must be guilty. And they called in the blind man and to get him to charge Jesus, to say that he did something wrong. The next person on this list of people who had an opportunity is the man's parents. Imagine, if you will, that your child was born blind. Or that your child was born with some deformity, whatever it may be. And suddenly that child is healed. That would be one of the greatest days in a parent's life. To think that the heartache that I saw my child go through, the fear that I had for them, the prayers that I offered for them have been fulfilled. There couldn't be, I don't think, a greater joy day in a parent's life. And yet these parents are suddenly called before the council. And all they see now, the view of their celebration is dimmed because they see potential trouble. You see, if they give glory to God because Jesus healed their son, they might be cast out of the church of God. That's not right. And so they cover themselves, they become like lawyers and go, well, you know, he's of age, ask him. We can tell you he was born blind, but he's old enough, ask him. I don't like how they necessarily throw their son under the bus, but that's what they say, you know, we're not going to lose our relationship with God because they believe the temple was everything. And so finally, what does the blind man see in all this? I think he sees spiritual blindness. He may have been physically blind, but he could recognize Jesus. These Pharisees who could see, these Pharisees who were supposed to be the leaders of Israel, the leaders in the exposition of faith, they're spiritually blind to what is going on right in front of them. Now the question then becomes to us in this is, what viewpoint do we take? What viewpoint are we likely to adopt? Perhaps it's just driving by the people that are holding up signs at the corner of Llewellyn and Hesperian, asking for help. We look at them and say, why don't they get a real job? They're here every day. Are we judgmental as the apostles were? Do we view other opportunities and things like that and other opportunities as an opportunity to share the message of God as Jesus did? View them as opportunities for growth. Grow opportunities instead of things that just get in our way. We have to be careful. In our society today, we say we're a Christian, we might be fearful like the blind man's parents going, if I publicly confess my faith, I might face opposition in today's society. Read an article in the paper the other day about, well, not the paper, I shouldn't say, I don't get a paper. Read an article online the other day of a man who was wearing a Make America Great hat. And he got beat up for it. Because he was wearing a hat that people didn't agree with. We face that same persecution. A family and family-run business loses its license. We saw the florist, we've seen the bakers that have been closed down because they said, I don't agree with something. It would go against my faith to make a cake for this. It would go against my faith to do this. And rather than saying, fine, there's other bakers, there's other florists, the people drive them out of business because they chose to live by their faith. We are the light in the darkness. We are the shining light of Christ in this generation. We shine and we share because Christ has lit us. Through the waters of our baptism, through the power of His Word, we have become reflections of His glory. And as Jesus said, will we hide that light under a bushel? We all remember that little Christian song that says, no. Hide it under a bushel? No. So we face the struggle of the parents. And when we see something going on in life, we have to remember whose viewpoint really matters. And that viewpoint is, what is God trying to show us? God, what are you trying to teach me by the circumstances I am facing? Because we know that all things work for good to those who love Jesus and are called according to His purpose. I always have that people think, well, all things work to good. Yeah. No, not all things work to good. They work for good according to God's purpose, if we're following Him. If we're not following God, we can't say, well, everything's going to work out good in the end. No. But as we seek God's will and His direction, then we find out that they do work out. We're facing a struggle today, a vote this afternoon. It is a hard vote to come by for Calvary. It is a hard vote to agree to. It's a hard vote to disagree with. And there will be people on either side of it. And the answer to this is not that a person is bad if they vote one way or the other. The answer is, God, how can we see this and how can we use this as an opportunity to share your light. The blind man's situation changed in a moment. Begging by the side of the road, Jesus' apostles look at him and say, poor guy, what did he do wrong? Jesus says, oh, this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity for this man's life to change direction, take a new course. This is an opportunity for the apostles to take a new course, to recognize that everything they thought they knew that may not be correct. Every opportunity we face in life as we deal with our midweek Lenten services and cross points, every cross point we come to is an opportunity to say, God, which way should I go? Instead of saying, God, I'm going this way, ask God first. God, which direction should I take? Does this direction focus on you and allow you to be in control, or am I trying to control you? We don't make God dance to our tune. That was the second temptation of Jesus in the wilderness. When Satan said, just throw yourself off the top, because he's commanded, he said his angels will not allow you to suffer to strike your heel. Jesus' response is, you shall not put the Lord your God to the test. You see, we follow God's will. Whatever God's will is, he will embrace, he will endorse, and he will continue. So let us seek this day to do God's will in every aspect. Let us recognize that some things which appear to be terrible may not be, that some things that appear to be one way may be another. But in all, let us turn our eyes to Jesus. Let us look to him and let him guide our hearts and minds. Let us be willing to listen, let us be willing to rejoice, and let us be willing to move forward in God's kingdom. May God grant you his peace and strength this day and each day. Let us rise.